I am Marcus James Dixon with Gold Derby, and we are here with director, writer, producer Marco Perego and actress producer Zoe Saldaña from the short film Dovecoat. First of all, thank you for zooming in. You're on vacation, but we appreciate your time.
No, thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for this
much.
interview and for, supporting Dovecote. It means a lot to us.
And we were just talking before we went live here about the Oscar shortlists were released, and Dovecoat is one of the 15 that got in for a best live action short film out of 180 that qualified. So that's just an incredible news for you guys. And Marco, how about start us off? What was it like that day when you found out you were on the shortlist?
I was not believing. I called Zoe, was the first person I called her. She was not pick up. She was busy with Emilia Perez. I think it was a lunch for the Golden Globe. And I keep call her. I said, please answer this call. And but yeah, I'm very grateful, and I'm very grateful for the team and everybody.
And Zoe?
I mean, it's an unbelievable sensation. It started out earlier this year with having this project be a part of the Venice Biennale, which it was a dream come true for Marco and a dream I never even thought I'd had. And it came true for me as well because it's such a big monumental sort of event that happens twice a year for the world of art. And to have been a part of it is just, I mean, we felt like we were making history for ourselves, like
Together
checking a
like a
big
couple.
list off of the bucket list. The journey of making it into the short list is unimaginably just exciting. It's humbling. It's still hard to express. It's really great.
So, Marco, tell us about the origins of this project. It stars Zoe as a prisoner who is it's the last moments of her in prison before she gets released.
Yeah, like Zoe say, we was invited to be part of the Venice Biennale this year through Chiara Parisi and Bruno Racine, the two curator, one of the Museo Pompidou Metz and one of the Pinot collection. And this year the pavilion was inside the women prison. And what they asking to artists to collaborate with directly with the inmate on, not directly with them. And we decide to
Interact with
interact
them.
with them and try to make this film. The challenge was to making a film inside a facility in a women prison, and the more important aspect I discovered through the journey, I think Zoe discovered, and also my partner, writer Alex, one of our producer, we discovered the discussion about what freedom really mean. And the idea we came along sometime from these women, the majority, they feel that freedom is where you belong, where you be seen, where the community is building. And freedom is maybe sometime more to stay inside outside, where outside the world you treat you very invisible. That's all the conversation we try to make with Dovecoat about that question, the question what freedom really is.
And as the actress, what specifically was it about this character that you felt connected to? Because she doesn't speak. We don't hear her speak. So you had different ways to communicate language.
That was exciting for me. I started telling stories through my body as a dancer. So I do believe in the power of physical performance as a form of expression. And this setting, this set is already a very intense set that's filled with reality. And I'm really happy that Marco decided to remove the words because the set was kind of speaking for itself. As he was scouting, he just realized too how it was just the right thing to do, that to basically through music and just passages and exposure to really allow the story to speak for itself. I feel that had we created dialogue for a story like this, I don't think it would have been as powerful because sometimes words can feel really redundant if your environment is already a true character that it's speaking for itself, right?
And I love a good movie title, and Dovecoat is such a great one. It just really stands out. And what can you tell us about choosing that title, Marco?
Because when Joy say, like, when I went to New York to start to write the story with Alex, Alex Dinalier is my co-writer, and mentor, and he bringing out something very, very touched to me. And he said, when you walk through New York, like Venice, there is so many pigeon, and these pigeon, they just waiting there. And what they do, pigeon before they die, they decide to let them go themselves, and they sit down in a certain pose and they blow up themselves. And I think he did such a great analogy about that. And I come out with the idea with him with Dovecoat title, because we felt, like when you look in facility like La Giudecca is kind of like a house. It's like a house of Dovecoat, of all these birds. And I remember every night before go to sleep, when we was finished shooting, this woman was giving to us letter and poem, and a lot of this letter and poem we was reading together in the night, there was described about this pigeon and these birds coming out of the window, and it was very, very interesting for us to using this title.
And so we don't know about the backstory of Zoe's character or her name, but did you talk about what that could have been, or did you just want the story on camera to speak for itself?
I think when a story sometimes is very specific, it it prohibits you from really finding, things that are relatable in that character. There's that moment where she's saying goodbye to this loved one, and you don't know if it's been a sister or lover or kind of like a daughter. You don't know, and that's not really important. What's important is that there's a lot of pain with this departure because obviously there's so much love there. And trying to find those moments that resemble the stories of these women that sort of know that they've left a life behind that they are trying to recreate in these places, in these spaces, right? So avoiding some type of specificity was best describing these women's double life. There's that, there's a moment where they stop wanting to be, they stop wanting to get out, and they start yearning to stay inside because the reality that they're living inside is just much more comforting for them. And my character, you don't know if she's, when she's sitting in the bench, it's the same as that beat when she's saying goodbye to that loved one. You don't know if she's happy that she's been released. You don't know if she's scared. You don't know if she's going to jump into the water. You don't know if she's going to hope for herself and get up and let that be the first day of the second part of her life. You just don't know. And by keeping it vague, I guess it gives the audience an ability to still relate to a person that has been detained and not have the audience tell themselves, well, I have nothing in common with this woman because I've never committed a crime. I've never been detained in my life, and I've never, I will never know what that's like. Well, that's not true. You know what it's like to say goodbye when it absolutely hurts, and you know what it's like to sit on a bench and not know what the fuck you're gonna do with your life, and so we really wanted to find a universal kind of language for these women because we really wanted them to be seen, and we didn't want people to sort of get stuck with the specificity of their journey. That makes sense?
And I want to add something. This is you know what Alex did, our partner in this. What Alex did, I think, is quite amazing. The structure is at the second act, where in the classic way, the characters say everything is lost. In this moment, he decided to write in a part to make Zoe depart outside outside of the facility, and he make another woman come in, and exactly at the end of second act, she be inspection. That was the bottom part of this character actually coming through another character of Zoe. What is mean that structure wise? I think it was very brilliant. Is the idea that the continuing cycle
Continuous.
of all these women coming in and coming out. Is that you don't know if this is the young Zoe, you don't know, but you can see what the young character of Zoe went through at the beginning, before was part of the community, before was create his own community. It's almost like a piece about how amazing and resilient women are and what they created when they belong one of each other and when they see one of each other. And that's also the decision for myself, like a director, when I was so lucky to work with somebody like Zoe, or so lucky to work with somebody like Alex, where the outside world is shot in like in a frame 4x3 and the editing very quickly, you know, and the outside inside is actually a 239, a very long, more cinematic, and it's one take. And the question is where freedom is, you know, and the idea never cut the camera was the idea that there was a community together, and there was a sense of that. But I was only capable to do that because a short like that was a very, very strong structure created by Alex and a performance by Zoe and all the great inmate and Marcello Fonte and all the other actors. And I think it was kind of special. There was a structure, very, very solid structure about.
Yeah, the cinematography was so beautiful. And like you mentioned, the different colors for the different spaces. And there was the one shot where the camera goes in through the hole from outside the prison to inside the prison. And that there was another shot where all of the prisoners are looking straight at the camera too, that really struck me.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that specifically?
Oh, you say it.
Yeah, the idea was, you know, from conceptual artist and director was thinking about to make a film that was capable to look in the eyes of all these women, in the soul. And these women, they never leave the camera. They look at you and they tell, I'm here, you know, I'm here. Look at me, this is who I am. And I think that is a portrait of all these women, and all these women, they represent women in all these facilities, but also when they are in a claustrophobic life, things they don't go, because what we discovered during this journey, 99% of all these women, they are in this capacity because they are abused or they are in situation by men.
They're just products
They're a product,
of
you know, of the
environments that are
environment.
systems that are
And the
broken.
idea of the shot was, look at me in the camera, look at me, and that's who I am, you know,
There's,
that represent the
you know,
vulnerability.
when I think when you are when you commit a crime and you are sentenced, you know, time stops for you.
Mm.
And I think that
That shot was
there
representative.
it's literally it was to give the audience that kind of jolt where you get them used to a cadence and there's a rhythm and the music and the violin is getting you through and the steps of the women and you're sort of getting like this tour of the life on the inside, and also when you turn that corner and you're smacked with life facing back at you, it's time stands really still for a moment, and that was quite, I found it to be the most brilliant moment in the whole short. And it really, for me, kind of like gave me that kind of idea that maybe it does resemble the feeling that somebody would be feeling the moment that you know you're going to go in and you don't know when you're going to get out, and how
Mm.
everything just kind of stops, you know.
And Zoe,
But then you realize,
you have committed a crime, Zoe. You stole viewers' hearts this year, not just in Dovecote, but in Amelia Perez. And you were also in Lioness and The Absence of Eden. You're having an amazing year. When does it all process in your head, or has it not yet?
it does and it doesn't. I feel very grateful that I'm in a time in my life where there is a level of consciousness. These
Mm.
decisions were made with so much consciousness and heart, you know, and so there was so much presence where that meant that I was taking full responsibility for these decisions, but I couldn't have made these decisions if it wasn't for the support that I just have at home. I have a partner that is a full-blown artist, much more of an artist than I am. I feel like I work in art, Marco makes art. I come home and the last thing sometimes I want to talk about is art, and Marco, that's when Marco really wants to talk about art. And he always encourages me to understand that this is how we live, this is who we are, and because it's not like we don't know what else to do. We don't want to do anything else. And I feel like life has definitely taken a turn. Um um and it's given me the ability to reconnect. I
Mm.
remember when I started, and you know, when you're young and you're fearless, there's
Dance.
this sense of wonder, and every opportunity that you get, like from from, you know, cross center stage, crossroads, the terminal, you know, Avatar, it was just like boom 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 boom, and I was always just like head on like a bull, you know. And then I went through a time in my life where I needed to go through that time where all those pieces that I had put in forward in the beginning were already, you know, following their own course. And I was sort of like right behind them and blessing every minute of the way. But now that I'm, you know, I'm 40, 46, there's this other phase in my life. I think it's phase 3, where I kind of want a combination of the last decade and the very first decade of my career combined. And I'm just like, I'm just really happy. I'm just really happy that 25 years of a career, I'm still able to say that I am employed and I do
Mhm.
what I love, and that my mentors and my peers see it and they respect it. It just means everything to me.
And Marco, I'm sure you've had a chance to watch her in action in Emilia Perez. Do you think she's going to win the Oscar? What do you think?
We cannot talk we cannot talk this at the house. We cannot talk, I promise.
No,
Yeah.
but he was there. He was there. I mean, the whole summer we packed up the whole family, the whole circus.
I'm
We called it the
very,
circus, and we were there in Paris shooting.
yeah.
And he was coming to set. We always visit each other when we're
But I'm
working.
very proud of her, and I'm very also happy for her to capable also to work with like great director, also like somebody like Jacques Audiard. I'm very happy for her for everything happening because she really deserves it.
But what's unbelievable is that with Emilia Perez and Dovecoat, like, you know what I mean? Like, we're both kind of like
Yeah,
covering each other. We're both like this.
Yeah.
Like, but don't say it, don't say it.
Yeah.
This is too good. This is
So
too good right
anyway,
now.
just very grateful, and also thank you so much for your time today. And Marcus, it's really mean a lot you watching our short and take a time to speak with us.
Yes, and we hope to see you both at the Oscars. And I have one quick question before we go. Looking back, even when you were a kid, what was the very first award you ever won?
Oh God. I'm pretty sure that in elementary school I would get awards for being, you know, I think the first award that I really do remember was of the Royal Academy of Ballet in England. They would send these teachers, these instructors to Dominican Republic when I was dancing ballet, and they would grade us. And I remember the academy that I was a part of, we would spend months learning all the steps and everything that was in their manual, just so we can have that stamp of approval that certified us as ballet dancers. And I remember being like 12 years old and seeing how my teachers were so nervous for us. And I remember my very first certificate of ballet, and it was like, and it was for an intermediate. It wasn't just a beginner, it was intermediate. I was considered intermediate at 12, and I felt really excited.
amazing.
What about you?
It was about soccer.
Of course, but say it. This is really exciting because Marco started out as a soccer player.
Yeah,
He's a very good
it
soccer
was a
player.
soccer. I was very, I don't know, I would receive quite a lot of awards. A soccer player, no, like,
But what he wanted to do was art.
but
So
all in my life, I want to be an artist. And it's very, very funny, like.
yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much for chatting with us. Have a good rest of your vacation, okay, guys?
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas to you and your family.
Oh,
Happy
thanks.
holiday.
Thanks,
Bye.
you too.